There is a nasal spray making the rounds in the biohacker circles right now that people claim sharpens focus better than caffeine, helps the brain recover after injury, and might even slow down aging. It's called Semax. And before you spray anything into your nose, based on a podcast bro's recommendation, I need you to hear what the actual research says, because the gap between the hype and the proof on this one is bigger than most people realize. I'm Dina. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, and my job is to read the study so that you don't have to take a stranger's word for it. Today, we're breaking down Semax nasal spray, how it works, what the evidence actually supports, where it's legal, and who should stay from it. Real talk is always free in here, so let's get into it. Semax is not a supplement you'd find next to your multivitamin. It's a lab-made peptide built from a small fragment of a hormone called ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, with an added tail to help it stay stable in the body. Unlike a lot of peptides you've probably heard me talk about before, Semax is usually delivered through the nose instead of an injection. Researchers believe it may influence brain signaling in several ways at once. Neurotrophins like BDNF, which is tied to learning and memory, along with dopamine and serotonin activity, inflammation, oxidative stress, and even blood flow in the brain. That's a long list of targets, and here's the catch I want you to keep in your back pocket for the rest of this video. Influencing something in a lab study is not the same as proving a real-world benefit for you. You might be wondering why a spray instead of a pill. Peptides tend to break down fast in the digestive tract, so swallowing one often means losing most of it before it ever does anything. The nasal route gets around that by bypassing the blood-brain barrier through the olfactory nerve pathway, which may let it reach the central nervous system faster. But faster delivery does not automatically mean better results. Formula quality, spray strength, the health of your nasal passages, and how the product was stored all affect what you're actually getting. A shaky supply chain can turn a promising delivery method into an inconsistent product. Let's go category by category, because not all of these claims carry the same weight. Focus and attention. This is the number one reason people seek this out. Small studies, older Russian reports, and animal data suggest possible support for focus, memory, and mental performance. Some units say it feels cleaner than a caffeine boost, but there are no large modern U.S. trials proving healthy adults get a reliable cognitive edge from this. This signal is promising. The proof is not there yet. Brain protection and recovery. This is actually where Semax has the most history, particularly in Russia, where it's been used for stroke recovery and certain optic nerve conditions. Animal research points to neuroprotective effects, including support for neurogenesis after ischemic brain injury. One human study on stroke patients reported better rehab-related outcomes alongside higher BDNF levels. That's meaningful, but it's a specific clinical population, not a green light for a healthy person chasing brain optimization. Mood and stress. Some people describe it as mentally brightening or calming without feeling sedated. This is the safest evidence of the three categories. Most of what circulates online here comes from small studies and user anecdotes, which can point you in a direction, but they can't settle anything. Longevity claims. This is where I need you to pump the brakes hard. Max gets called a longevity peptide constantly, but there is no strong proof it slows aging or extends human lifespan. If it supports brain repair or stress tolerance, that could matter for long-term brain health. That is a completely different claim than reversing aging, and I don't want you paying premium prices based on that confusion. Because Semax is not FDA approved in the United States, there is no official dosing standard here. Most of what's circulating comes from Russian medical use, research summaries, and compounding clinics. Strength varies a lot by product. Reports commonly describe lighter solutions for everyday cognitive use and stronger formulas reserved for medical settings, typically dosed in the hundreds of micrograms per session, often 2 or 3 times a day, usually in short courses rather than continuous daily use. The technique matters too. Since the nasal delivery is the entire point of the product, clear your nose first, shake the bottle if the label says to, spray as directed, and keep the nozzle clean. A lot of users avoid late evening dosing because it can feel stimulating, similar to taking a caffeine hit right before bed. Storage matters more than people expect. Heat, light, and poor hygiene can degrade a peptide spray fast. Many formulas need refrigeration after opening, and if the spray changes color, smell, or clarity, that's your sign to stop using it. The published safety picture looks fairly mild on paper. The most common complaints are nasal irritation, dryness, mild headache, nausea, and restlessness with some sleep disruption if it's used too late in the day. Serious side effects appear uncommon in the available literature. But here's what I need you to sit with. Long-term human data is thin. Mild and short-term is not the same as proven safe over years of use. If you experience strong nasal irritation, racing thoughts, allergic symptoms, or a sharp spike in anxiety after using it, stop and get medical advice. Certain people should be especially cautious. Anyone pregnant or breastfeeding, anyone with peptide allergies, unstable medical conditions, or anyone on medications that can interact, particularly stimulants or MAOIs, which could amplify effects or cause unexpected reactions. This is closer to an experimental drug than a daily vitamin, and it deserves a real medical consultation, not a group chat recommendation. Here's the part almost nobody explains clearly. In the United States, Semax is not FDA approved for any medical use. Most online sellers label it as research-grade material, which is a legal gray zone, not a stamp of safety. Russia and some nearby countries have used it as an actual medicine, which is part of why the legal picture shifts depending on where you live. As of this year, it was removed from the FDA Category 2 in April, and a July advisory meeting is expected to review its status for compounding. That could change access down the line, but right now, FDA approval and compounding status are two very different things, and Semax does not have the former. Quick comparison, because I know some of you are stacking things already. Semax tends to get linked more with focus and neuroprotection. Selank, a related peptide, is tied more to calm and steady mood. Nupept or Nopept is an oral option with more familiar footing in nootropic markets, but the evidence quality across all of these is still mixed. The biggest practical difference is the delivery route itself. A nasal peptide spray behaves very different than something you swallow, and that changes speed, handling, and how much you should trust the sourcing of what you're buying. And here's my bottom line. Semax sits in an unusual spot. More serious than a basic supplement, but far less proven than the online hype suggests. The strongest evidence points to brain health, recovery support in specific clinical contexts, not a guaranteed cognitive upgrade or an anti-aging shortcut for the average person. If you're considering this, talk to a qualified healthcare provider first. Ask where the product is actually sourced. Know that in the United States, this is not an FDA-approved drug, and treat that fact seriously before you spend your money or put anything in your body. The full written breakdown is linked below with every study cited directly, plus more peptide and longevity content just like this one on the blog. Drop your questions in the comments, every single one, and if you have tried this yourself, tell me how it actually went for you. Real talk is always free in here, and I will see you in the next video.